tarantulas. It seems the anthropoid has suddenly become, shall we say, obsolete. Yes.
What?
Look out, you fool!
Too much energy.
Maximize!
Alert. Quantum surge detected. Vector 597.
No! Not that!
Greetings, Neanderthals! Welcome to episode 42 of Too Much Energon, the Lasercomb podcast where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I am one of your hosts, Neocal.
So Cal, what's going on this week?
Oh, what do we got? I got got prescribed for something new. So I finally have joined the world of prescription drugs.
Son of a bitch.
I know, it's amazing. I've been able to stay away this amount of decades.
At least 3.
At least 3. And it's getting hot. And it's such a Victoria thing to, that's the city we live in, to complain about when it's cold and when it's hot, considering it never really gets too hot. It never really gets too cold. But for me, it feels fucking hot, man.
Yeah, today, for instance, some people were already starting to complain about the heat, and I think it was only 24 degrees Celsius, which, for the American listeners, which I've looked at the data, that's most of you.
What, 55?
No, it's like 80% at this point.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to guess the Fahrenheit.
70, so about 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, I was way off. How is it? What's the bad math way of doing it? It's like add 30 and then divide by 2 and then add 30. I'll figure it out.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and like, in my lifetime, I think the hottest it's ever gotten on the island here is like, I think 35, which is
it's gotten up there.
95 Fahrenheit, but that's very rare, and that I honestly haven't seen that happen in probably close to a decade now.
Once, maybe twice on a day where I refuse to go out or something, but that's rare.
And the coldest it ever gets here is about 20 degrees Fahrenheit in like the middle of like dead of winter.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So this has been local weather talk with Christopher Siege and Cal. Too Much Energon.
On the site, reporter, news reporter, Neocal here.
Neo Calson.
Neocalson on the job. What's the weather? It's hot.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
So this week on Too Much Energon, we are talking about the season 3 episode of Beast Wars. Go with the Flow is the 9th episode. We're going to get into talking about the episode in a little bit, because I have things I want to say. But before we do that, I want to share a story with you. And if you are a big Beast Wars fan, you probably already know about the script for an episode called Dark Glass.
Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
So, Cal, do you remember back in season 2, just before Dinobot died? We get this shot where he plugs like something from himself into the Maximal computer, and he says the line, "It may yet be up to me." And I said at the time, I'm like, pay close attention to this because it will never come up again in the show.
Right.
The original season 3, episode 9, episode 48 of Beast War, or episode 47 of Beast Wars,
47?
season 3, episode 8, was originally supposed to be an episode called Dark Glass, wherein Rat Trap finds a copy of OG Dinobot's data tracks uploaded into the Axelon's computer. And what he does is he tries to basically get that into the body of Dino Clone 2. And like, try as he might, like, it doesn't end up working. And ultimately the episode is about Rat Trap like coming to grips with the fact that his friend is gone.
Huh.
Sounds like a great fucking episode.
That sounds
doesn't
like
it?
a pretty great fucking episode, man.
That episode was there's conflicting stories. Some people say that it was rejected by Hasbro for being too dark. One of the writers said about a
Really?
decade.
That is too dark?
Yeah, one of the
We've dealt
writers
with death and like grievance on the show.
said about a decade later that that actually wasn't true. It was originally supposed to be it was the original script that they had written for season 2, and that was replaced with the episode Transmutate. But that doesn't really... Most people kind of in the fandom, from what I've seen, assume that he's just misremembering things, considering Dino Clone 2 wasn't even introduced until season 3.
Far later. Yeah.
Yeah, many episodes after Transmutate. So, Dark Glass was rejected for being too dark. And so what they did was they wrote this episode, Go With the Flow.
That was rejected, and then they wrote this.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. This is very integral to the plot, this episode.
So Dark Glass, as I said, sounds like would have been a great fucking episode. And instead, we got Go With the Flow, which I'm going to say right now, spoilers for my rating at the end of this episode. This is the worst fucking episode of Beast Wars I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's
number 1 on your top 10 worst Beast Wars episodes.
Yeah, if we eventually do a like worst episodes of this series list, this is going to be number 1 unless the remaining 4 episodes of the show are somehow worse, which I very much doubt.
The last 2 episodes we've been like, man, these are only going to get better, right? Because they crawled them out of a pit, and I think we gave the last one, we both gave it a sufficient amount of Energon.
We've actually given most of the episodes of season 3 at least sufficient amount of Energon.
Well, one of us, probably me, will go down to not enough. But like, have either of us given an episode, both given an episode, not enough Energon?
Yeah, there've been a couple.
Yeah, actually, never mind. I can think of them right now.
This episode might be getting a extra special rating from me. Outside of the typical rating system, so keep an ear out for that, because that might be coming. And yeah, I don't think there's any reason to like waste any more time. Let's just let's just get into the shit.
Go right fucking into it.
This is episode 42 of Too Much Energon, and we are talking about episode 47 of Beast Wars. Go with the flow. God Christ.
There's a lot of adorable proto-humans that the Maximals and the Predacons play with. Really didn't like when like the Predacons were like rubbing their palms together, like salivating over like getting to kidnap kids. I know they're the bad guys, and I keep saying that, but I wasn't sure how I felt about that.
This episode has broken my spirit so much. I don't even want.
Your spirit.
I don't even want to like dance around in silence over a Patreon ad.
We'll stare uncomfortably in silence and sip our coffee.
Well, here's a word about our Patreon. Do you want to hear more Lasercomb content each week? Is one episode of Too Much Energon or Alphanumeric just not enough? Then subscribe to the Lasercomb Patreon, where starting at a mere $5 Canadian per month, you get exclusive bonus recordings of Christopher Siege, NeoCal, and AP Sniddler shooting the shit, access to the Lasercomb Discord, monthly shoutouts, and more. Higher tiers include bonus video content, the ability to pitch future podcast content to us, a free t-shirt, and more. Support Too Much Energon and Alphanumeric by joining the Lasercomb Patreon today. A gorilla's ass. That's what this episode is. Gorilla's ass.
So Christopher has for the audio listeners, Christopher has a oddly bootylicious Transformer at his side.
It's the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Optimus Primal figure, and I have him in beast mode. And he got a big old butt.
He got the fat old dunk. You gotta fit those Cybertronian parts in there somehow, right?
Yeah. Actually, the original Optimus Primal toy functioned very much the same way. Like his legs, like his legs would turn around, just like he does just like they do in the show.
Yeah,
would like turn around, but like basically like his thighs would always kind of just chill out, hanging beneath this like butt flap. Exactly what's going on here, but the original Optimus Primal toy was the same way.
He's thick.
Yeah.
He's thick.
So this episode opens on some mountain.
The mountain's very important. Only for this episode, but it's very important.
You got some random mountain. And there's some kind of contraption in it, and camera pans down, and we see Transmetal 2 Cheetor stalking around, and it seems like he's being chased by something, and like everything gets all like suspenseful, but then we find out it's one of these stupid fucking ape kids.
The adorable ape kids.
Yeah, the adorable stupid fucking ape kids.
And it's Una, I think.
Una
leaps on him.
Yeah, this one's Una.
And the other one's Jack? Or am I wrong?
Chuck?
Chak. Like
Chak.
C-H-A.
Chak,
yeah.
right.
I think, yeah. Una and Chak. And he apparently came here to give them lessons.
Yeah.
And he's all like, hey, next time when you're fighting, when it comes to Cybertronians, you got to go for the joints.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's sound advice, I guess.
What is kind of cool, though, is like they're apparently learning to talk because they can say his name.
Oh, did they say Cheetor?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I must have missed that.
And yeah, Cheetor...
Go ahead.
Cheetor is like is like, okay, kids, time for school. And Rat Trap is here for some reason.
And Rat Trap is here. Yeah.
Yeah, just complaining about shit. And like off in the middle of the forest, like Cheetor's actually got like a whiteboard. And he's like giving them lessons
Blackboard.
on like or a blackboard. Yeah.
With chalk.
What did I say? A
Comic-
whiteboard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
blackboard.
one for dry erase is white, right?
Yeah.
He's got a stone tablet that he's like made into a blackboard of some kind, and like a comically like large piece of chalk sits in the frame.
Yeah.
And he's teaching them like basic physics, which I find odd. You always teach language skills first. This motherfucker's like teaching them like, pulleys and
levers. And immediately I'm like, okay, so he's literally changing history right now.
Yeah, it was like, can you guys do that? Is
like
this okay with this?
Like you're kind of like fucking with the timeline. But this goes back to something lends a little bit of credence to something you mentioned many episodes ago when we were talking about the fact that what were their Cybertronian names? Like, why would he be called Cheetor on Cybertron? And then you speculated that maybe the reason why on Earth we call them cheetahs and rats and whatnot was because of the Maximals.
Yeah, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
We call rats because of Rat Trap, and cheetahs because of Cheetor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're feeling? That's starting to...
I mean, maybe, because Cheetor is straight up, teaching them shit that, they're supposed to figure out, they, as a species, are supposed to figure out on their own, down the road.
Yeah, he's breaking that Star Trek. What's the...
He's breaking the temporal prime directive.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, technically, that would fuck with the timeline just as much as, if not more, than, wiping some of them out.
Yeah. So, this is ethically questionable of Cheetor.
Yeah. There's a gag where Cheetor's foot gets smashed by the rock he was lifting with the pulley.
Cheetara. Cheetah Man.
Cheetah Man. Educational stuff. Me? I'd rather watch things explode.
Yeah, of course you would, Rat Trap. Yeah, Cheetor, his foot, the pulley thing, lands on his foot, and there's this, cartoonishly, slapstick moment of him, holding his foot, jumping up and down, being like, ow, 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 and the kids are laughing.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't mind the kids in the episode. I have problems with the episode, but I don't hate them.
The kids are fine.
Yeah.
I was just calling them the stupid fucking kids, just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Just because.
So, folks, the main plot of this episode is
a fucking Megatron has a fucking death ray.
The Predacons have a James Bond villain death ray in a mountain.
Yeah.
This is a bad James Bond plot shrunken from movie form into 22 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and the crux of it is Megatron's big ass death ray seeps out way too much Energon that it causes them all to short out, which I thought transmetals didn't short out from too much Energon, but
did you catch why they short out?
Something to do with bipolar Energon, whatever that is.
I messaged Christopher before we started recording and all of this, and I'm like, bipolar Energon is a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that affects... So the whole point of being transmetal and not being affected by. They go back and forth on like the rules of the show, and I feel like it's weaker for that.
Agreed.
Chris, if you've been along with us, like all of these episodes, all 42 episodes of Too Much Energon, we really liked season 1 because it's like, okay, what are the rules? They can heal when they're in beast mode. They can't stay in their robot form too long, or they get Energon buildup. Bada boom! There's a reason for it. I like it. It's simple.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It's great.
We've talked about it at great length about like it. It's a plot device that necessitates their alternate form, like them actually having an alternate form,
and gives an easy out for when conflict, when the Maximals or the Predacons one side might start winning. It's like, oh shit, we're shorting out, transform and roll out.
Yeah, it's conveyed beautifully at the end in Beast Wars Part 1, in the battle toward the end of that episode, where the Maximals end up having to flee.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So like then they went against those rules with transmetals, and we didn't see why. But like now they're shorting out again, but only when they're making this doomsday weapon. So I'm like, oh, is this a thing now? Is there bipolar Energon? Or is it just this episode? I don't know.
I'm sure it will come up again. And yeah, so the crux of this is Megatron's death ray, too much Energon. Whenever it's powered
electrocuting all of them, all the Predacons.
But like, so in this scene, the reason why this happens in the first place is because Inferno like plugs it in before Waspinator is finished like putting up the shielding.
Yes, the shielding is not finished.
It's like, so just unplug the fucking thing, finish the shielding, and then plug it back in.
I didn't even think of that. Actually, that changes the entire plot.
This episode is
it's a huge plot hole.
Stupid.
I never even thought about that.
Oh man,
the whole plot about stealing the proto-humans and making them do the work when they could have just unplugged it and finished making it.
Yeah.
I was so checked out. I guess I didn't even notice that. Wow, that's huge. That is.
Listeners, I assure you, I love this show. This is my favorite show of all time. Like probably
his, like actual favorite show, not just animated.
Yeah, probably all around. Like what are my favorites? The Shield, 24, Breaking Bad, like Beast Wars is right up there.
Yeah.
Like I fucking love this show. This is a terrible episode.
That changes my whole perspective of the episode.
This episode of my favorite show is so bad that it actually has made me angry at how bad it is.
I think this is the first time you've been disappointed to anger of the plot.
Yeah, so Inferno, like Waspinator is putting up the shielding for the death ray. I think they call it a disruptor array in the show, but it's a fucking death ray. So Waspinator is putting up the shielding. Inferno plugs the thing in and turns it on before he's finished for some reason, and that causes like a bipolar Energon surge that makes them all short out. And so Megatron's like, well, it seems the bipolar Energon causes all Cybertronians to short out. Cheers. If only we had a non-Cybertronian to finish it, the shielding. And I'm like, just fucking unplug the thing.
Now then, here...
So
I had thought, because he's like, we need a non-Cybertronian to finish the job. When I initially watched it, I was like, to like infiltrate the Maximal base with like bipolar Energon crystals. Is that But I didn't realize he literally means finished building the death ray.
Yeah.
But they were just working on it fine.
Yep, they were just working on it fine until before Inferno plugged it in. So it's like, just unplug it and then finish it and then plug it back in. And everything will be fine.
Well, I know when I take parts out of my computer, I leave everything plugged in. Like when I do any engine work on my car, I make sure to start the engine first. And then I go and put a brick on the accelerator and leave it in neutral. Okay, it makes more sense now. And he's like, if only those stupid humans were more capable of following instruction.
Yeah, and Tarantulas is like, well, how convenient, Mighty Megatron. And, like, he's calling him Mighty Megatron again? Like, what? Tarantulas doesn't... He calls him Mighty Megatron.
Before he had mysteriously and without explanation rejoined the Predacons, he said all the time he thought Megatron was stupid.
Yeah.
And we've reconciled that. We've gone, okay, maybe once he saw Megatron's vision of
G1 Megatron from
G1
the Golden Disc.
Megatron and what his motivations were, he sided with him again.
Yeah.
And when he's groveling or being sarcastic, he has said, of course, Mighty Megatron in the past. But here not he just offering it up.
Yeah, he seems to be sincere here. And I'm like,
yeah,
dude, you hate this guy.
Yeah.
You've tried to usurp him like so many times.
I feel like there's a missing filler episode of where he comes back into the fold. I can't remember what episode it was, but anyone that's watched the show knows. It's the it's Axe 8 episode. The yeah, with the Raptors.
Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge, there we go.
See, even that episode title, Cutting Edge, like that has Cyber Raptors. Like that
and Axe 8.
Did we mention this on air or was it in the outtake? Okay, so the title of this episode, Go With the Flow, has nothing to do with the plot.
I can't place it. No.
At least like the titles of every other episode of the show, like kind of relates to what's going on.
Maybe it's based on how the humans improvise, and those two children teach the Maximals how to improvise a bit.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the only thing I got.
It's better than what I got.
Yeah. So the whole time Cheetor is trying to teach the proto-human kids, like they're being pestered by those little flashlight bug drones
that follow Tarantulas around.
Yeah, and apparently he can see through them. And they comment and they say, "Hey, these things have been around more and more like lately.
Mm-hmm.
Then kill them all or move." Right? Like they're not a natural creature. They're not going there because like they have a natural food source. They're going there to spy on you dipshits.
Yeah.
How could they not obviously think that they're associated with being spied on? Instead they just treat them like actual bugs. I think like Cheetor throws one at Rat Trap and he takes his tail, which extends a lot longer than I realized, and he's like playing baseball with them. Like knocking them out of the park and smashing them. And I didn't realize that Cheetor uses his tail like a rapier. Like an actual like rapier this episode. Like he even has his hand up and his offhand up and everything. And I'm like, huh. In loving memory of Dinobot.
It's his tribute to him.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Tarantulas is like, oh, what a coincidence, Mighty Megatron. Cheetor has been playing youth pastor to these stupid fucking Neanderthal kids. So one thing I do kind of like about this episode is I do kind of dig like cool youth pastor Cheetor.
I do, right?
Yeah. That, and there's one line that Megatron says later in this episode actually made me laugh. I'll point it out when we get there.
I think it might be the same as mine.
Involves Waspinator.
I like how he's teaching them how to like build trowels or like digging machines or like whatever. Like he teaches them how to put a piece of flint or stone on the end of a rock to like dig with. And I'm like, are these motherfuckers going to teach like humans how to like?
I mean, as I was saying earlier, there is a potential for a paradox here, like a paradoxical. This is a paradoxical action. Time paradox.
Yeah. When did humans
Snake,
work?
you can't do that. You'll create a time paradox.
When did humans like develop like any kind of agriculture? Do you know that off the top of your head? Oh, I just asked you because you mentioned anthropology. I don't know, but it feels like it's a little early. Like these motherfuckers going to be making like aqueducts and fucking like plowing the fields in like a matter of weeks.
I think it was only like maybe 10,000 years ago.
Oh wow! You mean not like 1 million? that lines up. Let's Google this shit. When did
11,500 years ago?
You're basically right on. They started developing. At least we have evidence of humans having agriculture at that time. But as we've established, this is like before Homo sapien. Like these are like proto-humans.
Yeah, I think they're either supposed to be Neanderthals or maybe Homo erectus, but it's definitely...
Well, if they're Neanderthals, it doesn't matter what you teach them.
But these definitely aren't Homo sapiens.
No. What gave that away? Actually, no. Like they were close enough that there was crossbreeding with Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, or so I've heard.
It's what I was told in school was that it's speculation. It's one of like three like main theories of like three main hypotheses of what happened to Neanderthals. One was that we killed and ate them all. Two was that we basically like bred them out of existence. Like we basically assimilated them by breeding with them. And the third, I think, was that they were wiped out by some sort of plague. Some sort of plague that was that only affected their physiology.
All of those seem extremely likely, especially the first one.
Yeah,
humans love to fucking kill and eat things, man.
Yeah,
even things that aren't edible. I mean, especially things that are edible, though.
You heard about that? What is it? High meat, they call it. I think.
What?
High meat, I think, is what they're calling it. It's people like literally letting meat rot for like months and then eating it because there's a chance you could do like it could cause like psychoactive effects. If you're Googling high meat, prepare for some positively revolting looking photos.
Well, that doesn't throw me off too much. I mean, so they eat this like fermented rotten meat in hopes that they get high as fuck.
Yeah.
So I worked I worked in a very fancy hotel and very fancy fucking restaurant, like really expensive, super fancy restaurant. And I don't know what it's called, but they have like, they age their meats at like certain temperatures and for certain amount of times. And it's kind of similar to that. It's like raw, but it has like rub on it. And
like
it's controlled fermentation. But
Like
that
you
seems
can,
different than what you're talking about.
yeah, like you can do that with like certain kinds of meat, like prosciutto. I love prosciutto. It's
Yeah,
technically raw, but it's
yeah.
like cured in like salt and aged for a certain amount of time. This
Mhm.
is literally just like putting meat in a jar for like 6 months and letting it rot and go moldy and then eating it.
Oh, that's balls of steel, man. Like, good for the people that do that and don't die. I got other ways to try to get high, man. I don't need to.
uh yeah, that's I watched I heard about it like maybe a month or so ago about on Internet Today YouTube channel I watch, hosted by Ricky and Elliot, formerly
Yeah,
of Machinima.
I love them.
Yeah, they're great.
Started
Uh,
rewatching it recently.
I've been I've been watching their show since they were part of Machinima ETC Daily back in, I think I
Mhm.
discovered them back in like 2014.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover with all the machinima people, right? Like there was Inside Gaming that came from that.
Yeah.
When machinima, um, like just what's the word I'm looking for? Ceased to exist. What's the
Well,
when machinima?
they were bought by Time Warner, and then when the Warner Media like big like merger conglomerate
Mhm.
thing happened, Machinima was just shuttered completely.
Yeah, completely. And that's interesting because um, Inside Gaming opened up and was given back to given back to the people from Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
So like a lot of Inside Gaming kept going, but like under the production of some Funhouse people.
Yeah.
The hat I'm wearing. Um, and so I think it was like Lawrence Sontag, not with Rooster Teeth anymore, but he was like one of the producers of it at the time. And Inside Gaming kept going. I think it's nixed now. No, wait, no, it's still there in some sense. Um, but yeah, they got a hold. I guess Rooster Teeth has like all those archived Inside Gaming, and they can put it on their website now. So I don't know if
Nice.
you know this. If you ever want to go back and watch like um all of them like old school from years ago, like interact and like review Halo 2 and shit, like it's kind of entertaining. And it's all free. Yeah. It's weird seeing all of that revived and
Yeah.
hosted again.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Ricky and Elliot, they were
Talking about high meat.
yeah. But yeah, no, they were ETC Daily, which was just like on the Machinima channel, and then they were spun off into their own like daily show channel called ETC Show. And then they were eventually were like, okay, we're leaving Machinima, and so they founded
That's
their
what
own
it was. Yeah. Good.
channel, Internet Today, and then maybe like 6 months or so. And the reason why they left was because they saw the writing on the wall. Maybe like 6 months or so after they left was when
Yeah.
Machinima was shuttered completely. But and unfortunately, like all of their old ETC content is just gone.
Oh, gone forever. Except for that one dude that illegally um, downloaded them, who's got it sitting somewhere on
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
hard drive.
yeah. That person doing God's work right there. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
There's an old. The first podcast I ever listened to was the Joystick podcast, uh, hosted by
Classic.
Justin McElroy before he became famous for being Justin McElroy of My Brother and Me. It was hosted by him and Chris Grant, who later went on to found Polygon.com, and Ludwig
Little
Kietzman.
site. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, maybe. Where's I going with this? Oh yeah, I found someone who actually, because like Joystick itself doesn't even exist anymore. But I found someone who has posted, I think, on like SoundCloud or something, every single episode ever of not only the Joystick podcast, but like any other podcast that they like collaborated with for like certain special episodes.
Oh, they just showed up like on
Yeah.
someone else's. That guy's
Like,
doing God's work.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's such a trip though, because like the Joystick podcast was from like the mid to late 2000s. So it's such a trip to like go back and hear them talking about like being hyped for like Halo 3.
Right? Oh yeah. Should follow them. Should find them on the Twitters and follow them.
Yeah, Ludwig doesn't Ludwig actually also for the listeners, maybe this is a good time to go into this. Laser comb. That actually is from a bit on an episode of the Joystick podcast.
Yeah, that just popped up into my head.
Yeah, if you're curious, type in Joystick Podcast X laser comb, and you'll get like a little bit with a little bit of audio from the old Joystick podcast talking about the Haramax laser comb, and with some video from Space Ghost Coast to Coast added in. It's great. Check it out.
Before we drop that and move on, yes, this episode is very interesting. I watched Ricky and Elliot rant at length, and they're quite detailed when they. I like how they bitch about things.
Oh, so do I.
They care about things, yeah. But they do it in an informative way, and they go, okay, well, to be fair, and they'll try to give the other side, and they'll be like, well, here's the good from it, and here's the bad, right? Like I like their style. And they basically taught me about like ETFs, the crypto market for digital artwork.
NFTs.
NFTs. I said ETFs. There you go. Can you tell I know a lot about it? NFTs. And it was quite informative. And they also went on Funhouse and talked with them a little bit, like 15 minutes out of their like hour-long like podcast about it. And I was like, oh, what? I have no idea what's going on, and listened to them and went and Googled a bunch. And I'm like, is this dumb? This feels really fucking stupid.
It is. It's really fucking stupid.
But can you imagine paying like $10,000, $100,000 for like a JPEG? But it's yours. You own Dick Butt, and nobody else does. And
so I think I said this on Reddit, and I ended up getting like a shit ton of upvotes for it. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but basically the gist was that I feel like NFTs are like the ultimate like the ultimate token that some people just have way too much fucking money.
Yeah. You're not like I understand owning digital things. The things you buy in Apple Music, right? You can fuck off. You can not have a computer. You can live in the mountains for 2 years, Christopher. You come back, you sign into your fucking Apple account, and you can download the things you bought.
Most of the time.
And
technically, they can take those things away from you. It's happened to me before.
And right, there are deals with different artists and record labels, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, the movies you've paid for, you can acquire again digitally. That's supposed to be the benefit of owning digital over, you can uninstall a game and reinstall it years later. That's the benefit. But like owning a JPEG, it might be really great art, but like it's just to say that you own it. Other people might be able to right click and save and have it as their wallpaper, but it's different because it's yours.
Yeah.
And what is it like NFT like transactions use like a crazy amount of like energy? Like every day the blockchains use something like a a middle class home in Sweden or something like that, or an entire block of like a Brazilian suburb or something stupid like that.
Yeah, to bring this back to Transformers, actually, recently at some, I think it was some like investor call or something like that at Hasbro, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're committed to being more environmentally friendly with our packaging," and indeed, like they're using like less and less plastic in the War for Cybertron Kingdom lines. Like the packaging's primarily just cardboard now. Whereas like even in Earthrise, like they were sitting like the outer shell was cardboard, but like the figure sat in like plastic and
little mold for it to hold it. Yeah.
Yeah. So and this like Hasbro dude was like, yeah, we're committed to being environmentally friendly and like moving away from using a lot of plastics and like using recyclable materials and yada yada. And then he was like, but we're also thinking of getting into the NFT game for Transformers products. And so he took a lot of flack for
this
that.
gun while I shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm going to move away from this, trust me. Don't get me wrong, like the whole like, oh, like the artist gets paid every time it's resold, right? Like they get a cut of it. That is cool. Whereas let's say somebody buys a physical piece of artwork from an artist, right? And if let's say I do, and I want to resell it, I don't have to give some of that money back to the artist. But in NFTs, every time it's resold, a certain percentage of whatever it's sold for goes to the artist. That part is cool.
If you go into that part. If you go into a used music store and buy a used CD, like all you're really helping is the music store. You're not helping the artist at all. Which I actually knew a bunch of when I was younger, a bunch of metalheads who were like really high and mighty about like buying CDs and not like buying MP3s on like iTunes or whatnot. But like these people, most of their CDs they would buy used anyway.
Yeah, so who are you?
Yeah. I was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say what you want about the digital marketplaces for music, but I mean, the artists get paid. So what do you want?
Yeah. Spotify doesn't only pays artists like pennies per stream, which is true. And that's bullshit. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pirate their music. And it's like, I've known people who have actually said, like, I'm paraphrasing, but like that's basically been their attitude. It's like, how are at least like streaming it on like Spotify? At least you're like giving them pennies per stream. Like going and pirating it, like the fuck
gives them nothing.
It gives them nothing. So like, what is this weird high horse that you're on?
And also, that's per stream. You can listen to it without like owning it. That's every time it's streamed.
Yeah.
That might add up more. Like, here's an interesting thing. What if you could pay artists, but you paid them personally a few pennies every time you listened to the song, rather than buying an album or digitally buying the entire song? Then if you got like a really catchy song or whatever, you make bank.
I think that's kind of what Bandcamp does.
I think so. I haven't gone on that site in like 84 years.
4 million years.
Speaking of 4 million years, it's time to kill these little kids.
Yeah, all right. What the fuck's going on in this episode?
Inferno and Waspinator attack Cheetor, Rat Trap, and the Banana Bunch.
The Banana Bunch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's where we are.
For the royalty!
Yeah, Cheetor gets shot. Waspinator kidnaps, what is her name, Una?
Yeah.
Una, the little girl Neanderthal,
He
and
rubs
flies
his
away.
little like hands together and he's like, "Oh, perfect for the taking." And I'm like, don't do my boy Waspinator like a creepy like child predator, please.
Depth charge shows up, flying
Oh,
in his manta ray mode,
it's
spitting
eerie.
like disc missiles
That
out of
looks
his
fucking
mouth.
weird, man. I
No,
don't like it.
I don't like it. No.
Like shoot. It's weird looking. He's shooting energy discs out of his mouth.
Yeah, and he looks like he's like belching them out in rapid succession, and it I already don't like the way his face looks in beast mode.
Especially when he talks.
Yeah, and like that's worse.
It's like when Optimus talks when he's a jet. And I'm like, don't like.
I can
I don't know
deal with
what.
that. It's like I don't like it when he moves his arms in jet
Oh,
mode.
that's weird. His wings suddenly
Yeah.
are like hands, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't like. No, I don't like it. Yeah. Optimus shows up and Cheetor is basically like, I gotta go save Una, and Optimus is like, no, you're too hurt. Depth charge will go, and Rat Trap will go after her. And Cheetor's like, no. And Optimus is like, yeah. Get
And
Chonk, or whatever his name is, home safe.
get Chonk home, yeah.
And Cheetor's like, you got it, big boss. Big boss, big bot.
Yeah, and we cut to Waspinator and Inferno flying back to the mountain base, to the Death Ray. And he's precariously dangling Una with his little wasp legs, which shouldn't be able to hold things, but whatever.
He's a robot.
And Una has Una has a flashback of Cheetor, literally his voice saying, when you're battling bots, try hacking at the hinges, which means she understands English to some extent.
Yeah.
Or at least the instructions. And indeed, she takes her like weird little like digging tool and starts like slamming it into Waspinator and is taking his legs off, his insect legs off. I like that.
I like that, but also there's I see a critical flaw in her plan here.
Oh?
Let's say she takes out all of his legs, including the ones holding her, and she falls to her doom.
Better than whatever they're going to do to her. Kid, if you're a kid and you're like listening, you fight tooth and nail if anyone tries to take you. If you're an adult too, if anyone kidnaps you, don't listen to them say like, "Oh, do what I say and I won't hurt you." Because they're going to drive out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and then you won't be able to like kick and scream and yell. You fucking fight, you slash, you smash windows, you scream, you go nuts. You never ever negotiate with a kidnapper.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Absolutely not, especially not the winged kind. You fuck them up. I do like Megatron radioing Waspinator, and he's like, she better not be harmed.
So this is what I laughed about earlier.
Oh.
This was the one thing in the episode that actually made me laugh.
Go
yeah. So Megatron's like, she better not be harmed. No. And Waspinator is like, Fleshy Bot not hurt, Fleshy Bot hurting Waspinator. And what does Megatron say?
Megatron's like, situation normal then. Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like looking at his nails.
Yeah, that made me laugh. It's the one thing in this episode that made me laugh.
There's another part later when
actually
he's like,
I think there might be another. He says another line that makes me laugh.
There's one
terrible fucking episode, but Megatron is always entertaining.
I like Cheetor with the kids, and I'm actually fine with like what the kids' shenanigans. But like the plot, just like the main story is a little silly.
Yeah.
I don't like bipolar Energon being a thing, but whatever.
Especially without any explanation as to what it actually is.
I'm sure we'll get an explanation soon.
Yeah, in the 4 episodes that remain of this series.
Yeah,
We're almost to the end of Beast Wars, dude.
I can't believe it. I like that Waspinator is flying on his back now because he has no insect legs to support Una's weight. And he's like, Waspinator wants to renegotiate contract. And I'm like, yeah, fucking
Good
rights.
Good
He's
for
my
you,
union
Waspinator.
bot. I mean, I'm sure the Preds don't have anything like that, but I appreciate that.
So Megatron's like, let's power up the Death Ray for a little test. And Tarantulas is like, no, too much Energon. Too much bipolar Energon or whatever. And he's like, minimum power, yes, just a test. So they fire the Death Ray and knock Depth Charge and Rat Trap, who are like flying toward Death Ray Mountain.
And it like makes a weird zigzaggy like arc of electricity or energy at them. While it's like electrocuting all of the Preds, it shows the energy. Oh, that's later. Sorry.
Yeah.
Even testing it just now, it kind of like shocks all the Predacons a bit.
Yeah. But Una's fine, because she's not Cybertronian.
Yeah.
So Rat Trap and Depth Charge are going down, and they have like a little back and forth, like just bickering with one another.
For the first time on the show, Depth Charge is like injured so bad that he's when they fall to the ground because the death ray kind of hit them. Depth Charge can't move. He's like barely functional. And he's like half buried in the mud.
So when they crash, there's a transition screen where it goes to black and we see smoke come up.
Yeah.
And the picture fades in. Watch that, because it is literally just like superimposed smoke over a black screen.
Let's see what the fuck.
That like fades and like it for like a brief second is like a filter over the
I need to see this.
You do. It's at like around like 10:30.
Okay, let's see here.
On Tubi.
Is it as rad as the realistic fire effects from season? What was that? Season 1?
Yeah. It's especially hilarious because I'm pretty sure I've seen people use this exact transition in like Windows Movie Maker.
Pull up. Oh my god, how did I not notice that transition?
I think it might be like one of, if not the worst effects I've seen on this show.
That is amazing. How did I not notice that?
I didn't notice it.
Smoke, almost like the beginning of a Bond movie.
I didn't notice it when I watched this episode the other night, but I just rewatched it a few hours ago. And I'm glad I did, because I noticed that.
Excuse me, princess. So there's this like huge crater down like a hill, like an impact slide.
Yeah.
And Depth Charge is stuck on his back, unable to move. And he's like, I guess you gotta try to help me out here. And he's like, no way, this is a rescue mission. And Rat Tap just fucks off. He's like, huh, helpless, marvelous. And a butterfly lands on him, and he's like, what are you looking at? Kind of like his voice.
Really?
Yeah, when he's not being...
We've been shit talking his voice
Oh,
performance all season.
his
Although
voice lines, he's like
although
an edgy motherfucker, but like the voice itself, it's kind of like an edgy Batman.
I've always to be fair, he's kind of, the voice actor has been dialing it down for the past couple of episodes, but
You
the
mentioned that a while ago.
few episodes that he was in of this show, he sounded like he was trying way too hard to sound like a tough guy.
It is dialed down.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Definitely. So we're back in Death Mountain. I realized that they have
Mountain. Nice.
I realized they have a special apparatus, like a long crane, that's sole purpose is to provide a seat that is suspended from above just for Megatron.
Yeah. So he can have his ye old
His
floating
like
throne.
floating throne.
Yeah.
A whole device just so that I just noticed that. Weird.
He's had one of those like in just about every like field operation he's had.
What is it? Yeah. What is it with him and like the ceiling suspended like throne?
Hey,
Can this motherfucker just sit down?
We all have our kinks.
Yeah. Some people like to get shocked by bipolar energon. Yes. Other people like being hung from the ceiling by hooks. So
With
I like
bipolar energon batteries, jumper cables plugged into their balls. Cheers.
Oh, I mean energy cells.
Turn it on. Minimal power. Yes. No, not that minimal. Turn it up more.
Higher. Higher. Too high. Higher. So Una,
there's this little bit where
I actually like this.
this was
it.
mildly entertaining. Where
So yeah, he points to he's like, you there, and for some reason Una is just on the death ray.
yeah,
And she points at herself. He's like, yes, finish installing that shielding plate. Yes, that one.
grab the wrench.
Put it
She's
on
like-
those bolts. Go on. No, that not your head. The wrench. And he laughs, though. He goes at 11:50. He goes,
Yeah.
when she puts it on her head. No, not there. So he acts impatient and he gets angry later. But there's two sides of him going on here. That was like a joyous laugh. Like, does Megatron like kids? Like,
He
go
actually
back to
likes
11:48, and he has a joyous laugh. I've never heard the voice actor deliver any like joyful laughs. I've only heard like maniacal laughs or like like mocking laughs. So I kind of really like this. I kind of like Megatron with the kids.
Uncle Megatron.
Call me Uncle Megsy. Yes. Listen to Uncle Megs. No, put it up there. Yes, grab the wrench.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, the wrench, you imbecilic anthropod. Yes, that's it. Use it. Yes. She uses it as a fucking hammer.
Well, first she's got a bone. The camera cuts and comes back to her, and she's just holding a fucking bone.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Where did this
you
come
get
from?
that? Yeah. And she copies him, and she's like, wrench? No. What does he call her? An imbecilic anthropoid?
An imbecilic anthropod, yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, she hammers in like the shielding plate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this kid's genius, considering like she barely knows any English.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Like, send this kid to Cybertronian University. The Megatron Scholarship for Youth.
The the Waspinator Center for Neanderthals who can't read good and who want
Want to
to
do other things
good
smartly
too.
Good too. The Waspinator Center for Anthropoidic Imbeciles Who Can't Read Good. Fuck. What is this?
And who want to be smartest of all Predacons too. Oh.
So it's funny. Megatron gives up, seemingly, and he kind of like sighs after his like weird nap, and he hears Una kind of like do a ta-da sound, and he kind of like lifts his head up, and he's like, yes, like so amazed that she did it, and it's not perfect, right? But can we just stop and discuss the fact that this like skinny fucking like ape child, by the way, this contraption that she's been working on is 40 feet high. I understand that we're apes. We're very good at climbing and stuff. She did all of this herself.
Yeah.
In like an afternoon. Like the sun is still up. Like she could probably do this.
Many megacycles were spent in its construction.
Maybe they should start putting these people to work.
Yeah.
But unionize them and pay them a fair wage, as Waspinator wouldn't have it any other way.
You get 2 bananas per day. Cheers.
What? They're arguing for 3? Unheard of.
Tarantulas.
2.5 for people that betray the union.
Tarantulas. Kill them and eat them, and bring in the next round of new hires.
My pleasure, Megatron.
After she finishes building the shielding,
they give her a very important microchip, a stabilizer crystal.
Yes, with very thin pins that she has to like plug into a circuit board.
That look easily bendable if you were to do what an ape would do and go.
Yeah.
And it's a crystal inside of a microchip.
You ever put a CPU into a motherboard?
Maybe don't let an orangutan fucking do it.
That is a nerve-wracking experience, good sir.
Yeah.
I have seen CPU pins bent before because I have done it.
Oh no.
Yeah. As long as you don't fuck them up too bad and you're really careful, you can bend them back, and
you can bend them back.
You're probably fine.
Yeah.
With my steady surgeon hands.
Exactly. That only gets steadier the more intoxicated you become.
The more intoxicated I become and the older I get.
Yeah.
Those two, there's a direct correlation between those two.
Sidebar, you ever meet motherfuckers who are like, I'm fine, I drive better when I'm drunk anyway?
Yeah.
No, you fucking don't, dude. If you're one of those people, stop saying that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't believe it yourself and you just say it to be funny. 1, don't drink and drive, you tool. And 2, don't say that. Like, that feels like such an alcoholic uncle thing to say.
I know a lot of people who say that about weed too. Also, don't drive stoned. And no, you can't drive better when you're stoned.
You don't drive better. You don't do anything better when you're intoxicated. I know, crazy thought.
Shocking.
You might like it more. You might like it more. You do not do it better. Doesn't matter, right? Like, for instance, yoga, maybe more enjoyable under certain substances. Film yourself like playing a game or doing like yoga or exercising or whatever. No, dude, you don't do it better.
You remember the movie Beer Fest?
Yes, I
do. Jay Chandras, whatever his name is. I can't remember.
Whatever his name is, yeah.
Yeah. There's a bit where he's in a bar and he goes up, and I haven't seen the movie for like 15 years, so I'm very much paraphrasing this. But he goes up to this woman and starts like hitting on her, and they go out into the dance floor and start dancing, and there's this shot of him being like spinning around being like, "Hey baby, I think you're real fine and I'd like to take you home." And it cuts to her face and she's like, and then it cuts back to him and he's like, lol, 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 lol.
Oh, he's not even saying the words that he thinks he's saying.
Yeah, first it shows what he thinks he's saying in his head, and then it shows us what he actually looks and sounds like. It's hilarious.
And I've heard, oh, I drive better when I'm drunk anywhere, or I dance better when I'm drunk. You have more confidence. You do not dance better. You trust me, people. As somebody who's gone with friends and has been the designated driver, like you do not dance better when you're drunk.
I have
people.
I have more fun singing karaoke when I am smash drunk.
I have more fun. I'm not a better singer.
No,
Holy
I'm not
shit,
a great.
am I not a better singer
I'm not a
when
great
I'm
singer, period. But like even playing like SingStar or something like that, if I'm like stone sober, I can usually at least like get a
Hit the
decent
line.
score. Like
Yeah.
I can usually like keep my pitch and my tone.
Yeah.
And all of that, and at least like do respectably. When I play SingStar drunk, like I'm all over the place. I'm having more fun.
Yeah.
But like I'm not beating anyone.
Yeah. It's like the people that are like, oh yeah, like I'm like way better at sex or blah 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 when I'm like high or stoned or drunk or like whatever. No, you're not. You're not. Sorry. That's another one I've heard. You're not better. That's a universal like rule, people.
Yeah.
Things are more fun, but you are not better when you're intoxicated.
No.
Inebriated. I'll use that word.
When you are under the influence.
There you go. Yeah. When you're high on that bipolar Energon, you just let a monkey make your death ray. How could nobody be supervising this kid? This is an integral part right here, folks. Because he's like, yes, put in that delicate piece of machinery. And she opens the right compartment somehow. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What is this episode? You're teaching the early humans how to like make a death ray? I mean, she's not going to remember any of the circuitry or anything like that. But like, I thought what Cheetor was doing was bad.
Yeah.
He's like getting her.
I mean, something tells me that, well, considering we've already seen him outright try to do it, Megatron doesn't really care about, fucking up the timeline.
Oh, he plans on offing them anyway, right?
I mean, he's already tried to do it once. At least once.
Yeah. So the camera cuts away, and Una goes, and slams the panel closed.
And Megatron's like, yes, my death ray is complete. Aim it at the maximal base.
Triumph is before me.
Aim it at Ark Mountain. No.
Do it. I suppose you want me to talk, Megatron. No, I want you to go offline.
Triumph is before me. And then Rat Trap is like, and the rat is behind you.
What?
I kind of liked that line.
I like that. And Dino Clone 2 like peeks in between two glass shields.
Oh, Megatron actually does go, what?
Yeah. What? Dino Clone 2 eyeball laser is it's not even a laser, it's a little ball of light. I don't know. His eye does like fucking 5 different things.
I call it his eye blaster.
His eye blaster shoots a little white ball and it like knocks Rat Trap's gun out of his hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was Rat Trap's plan there? And then the really creepy part comes. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, like, I feel like given the circumstances, Rat Trap probably should have taken the stealth approach.
Well, I mean, he did sneak up to
Well,
Megatron, but
Sneak
like
in, stay hidden, and then grab the kid, and then
make
sneak
his
out.
move. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also that's a much more rat trap maneuver. Just like trying to like point a
Be all like,
gun at
ha
them.
ha! Like that.
Yeah, I have you now.
It's a dumb plan in a dumb
And then
episode.
Megatron, feeling like confident, he's like, Tarantulas, it seems the anthropoid suddenly has become, shall we say, obsolete. Yes. And so then it's playing this creepy like do 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 like that like suspenseful Predacons are winning music. And Tarantulas like starts salivating and rubbing his palms together and like walking towards Una.
Yeah, because he's gonna eat her.
And she
presumably.
immediately knows like Tarantulas is bad news bears.
Yeah.
She like sees that guy and she goes, that's bad touch. That's bad touch, man. Right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've seen tarantulas eat all manner of creature before, so
True. So what I thought was going to be cool, but ended up being nothing. Rat Trap pulls out his like rigid tail thing and holds it like a rapier and points it at Dino Clone too.
yeah.
So I thought there was going to be some sort of like crisis with have at thee and some sort of crisis with Rat Trap fighting someone who essentially is a clone of Dinobot and some sort of duel. But no, there's no like crisis. There's no emotional depth there.
See, that would have been interesting.
Wouldn't that? I'm not asking for a huge, like 10 seconds of him going like, I don't want to hurt you, big guy, but if there's anything left of you in there.
Yeah.
Like a little line like that, and then have him like knock the weapon out of his hand. Mm-hmm. So that like Rat Trap goes, okay, so this isn't Dinobot at all. But no, I thought they were gonna have like a duel. No, he just chops Rat Trap's rapier in half. Hey, what's the big deal? And then it cuts to Tarantulas, and he's doing a pedo walk towards Una. Like he's literally fucking jiving like this, clanking his. I can't handle it. Like, well done, animators. He's like doing this, and he's clanking his claws and going, doing like the creepiest little fucking like I'm gonna eat you like strut. I can't handle that. That animation is great. Just him fucking walking towards Una as she's like crying for help. And I'm like, don't like child predator approaching little girl in this episode. Like, I thought I hated Tarantulas a lot, but the fact that Megatron is like, well, Tarantulas, you can now have your fun, like, means that other people know he's creepy fucking too. It's not just the viewer. And I thought I hated him like 10 out of 10. Not like hate the character design. I always mean like he's like a villain, and like he's way more villainous, and I dislike him more than Megatron. Like Megatron is like a Bond villain, and Tarantulas is like a creepy serial killer.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So where the hell are we? Oh, Una uses some lever action. She takes her lessons into account.
Yeah, and like
this is so funny and dumb. And then Tarantulas goes, oh no! And like runs vertical, like
she knocks like part of the thing that she's standing on.
Some sort of giant fan or distributor or something.
Yeah, and it's like connected to the like spiral staircase that she's standing on.
And she falls.
So, yeah, and it falls onto Tarantulas and squishes him.
Yeah. I'm like, good, get fucked. That guy has gotten squished more times than he's gotten shot easily on the show.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, when Tarantulas is taken out, it's from something squishing him.
Well, when he was actually killed, he was burned alive by Inferno. At the end of season 1. Like,
oh shit!
he
I
was
forgot
straight
about that.
He was straight up killed. His body was like converted to a transmetal body by the quantum surge, but his body was dead.
Oh, it was
But
all
his-
like coiled up like a dead spider.
Yeah, but his consciousness he had uploaded like a copy of it into Black Arachnia.
Yeah. Do you think he's bitter? Like, would he want to get Inferno back for that? Seemingly not.
You would think, but that's never come up at all. I didn't even think about that until just now.
Right? Like, Tarantulas is definitely better. And Inferno flat out was like, for the royalty, traitors burn. And he burned him alive.
Yeah.
Like, Inferno's kill count is 1, and it's Tarantulas.
Well, technically, I guess he lived.
Yeah,
he got to say technically himself, but I'm like, because he incinerated himself in that one episode. But it's like, no. But then next season he wasn't fine, but like he wasn't dead.
Wasn't incinerated, yeah.
No, so Una falls off of the thing. Rat Trap goes into hot rod mode and speeds over and catches her, and then fucks off out of Death Mountain.
Yeah, they get out of there.
Yep. They go back to Depth Charge, and Depth Charge is still fucked up. And
he's huge compared to them.
Oh,
they try to pull him out of the mud, and he can't, because like Rat Trap is like human sized, but Depth Charge is like a fucking dump truck.
He is an ultra beast figure.
There you go. And as they're trying to pull him, he's like, I still can't move, but you could take me to the water.
Yeah.
Breathe.
They're trying some pulley action. It's not working. And then Dino Clone 2, Inferno, and Waspinator show up and start shooting at them. And
can Dino Clone 2 fly?
No.
How'd he get there so fast? Whatever. Have you noticed Inferno this episode is rolling his R's a lot more than usual? All the Predacons attack!
Yeah. It seems to vary from episode to episode. Sometimes he does it a lot. Sometimes he doesn't do it at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so they slide down the hill and into the water. And Depth Charge goes Depth Charge Beast mode?
Yes. So Depth Charge actually says fucking Beast mode to go to Beast mode for the first time. Every other time he has said maximize twice now on 2 separate occasions in 2 separate episodes. He said maximize to go into Beast mode. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, okay, well, I guess maybe that's just his thing. Maybe that was maybe the first time it happened, I was like, maybe it was just an oversight by the writers, but then he does it again in another episode. I'm like, oh, okay. But now this episode, he says beast mode to go to beast mode, just like everyone else.
Was a mistake.
I don't know.
It was a mistake, yeah. The other 2 times, not this time. So basically,
so they use him as a rowboat.
Yeah, the Depth Charge can't move. So Rat Trap takes out his tail, which has
regenerated, apparently.
It's regenerated, yeah.
Yeah, because Dino Clone 2, like used one of his like finger claws to slice it in half.
Yeah. So Una and Rat Trap are like, what are those things in like what are those boats with like the long sticks in that Italian? What's the flooded city I'm thinking of? Man, I'm so dumb today.
Venice,
yeah. So I get like a Venice vibe from this because they're using sticks, and like sticks aren't paddles. They're just kind of like pushing.
And I'm like in like swamplands where you can like basically just stand. You can basically just build like a raft, like a flat raft,
And then push yourself off the
push yourself.
ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get that vibe
Like
from
in the bayou.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I get that vibe. They're kind of like pushing themselves along the floor.
It looks like
of
they're in really shallow water. So
yeah, and somehow all three of the Preds can't shoot them. And I understand that it's shown that depth charges transmetal skin is like resistant to a lot of damage. And indeed, they hit him, and it appears to do no damage.
oh, and what I just said, well, now we're not in shallow water. We're actually in rapids. And they're not pushing against the seafloor anymore. Rat Trap's literally just rowing.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, that goes out the window. All right.
So they're whatever. Because he is going sideways. It's not like they're not like hoisting themselves. He's literally doing a rowing action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason, he's still Rat Trap is still bickering with depth charge, and they're firing back. They're firing back and forth, and he can't hit them. And they go over a waterfall.
Yeah, they go over the waterfall. You would think something like that would be like a much bigger problem than it actually is, but they come out the bottom of it just fine.
Okay, so there's this trope. It's such a common trope. Christopher can probably back me up on this, where in a movie, the main characters or whatever character will go over a waterfall, and it's super scary, and they see it coming, and they don't want to do it, and they go over the waterfall, and people are a little bit like wet, or they cough up some like water and leaves or whatever, but they're usually fine. That is not the fucking case if you go over a waterfall. Especially of that like caliber, like there's back currents, there's like a riptide like effect, and also tends to be just a pile of fucking rocks, who would have thought, at the bottom of where waterfalls are. Almost like the rocks from the edge of the cliff get worn down and fall down and worn away. So like falling off of a waterfall should most of the time be a fucking death sentence. And yet in movies and TV shows, like what usually happens is people go over a waterfall, the people watching go, they're as good as dead, just leave them. Or the people are underwater and they hide long enough for their pursuers to lose them. That always happens in everything. And I don't know why, but it bugs me. It's a trope. You're not safe if you go over a waterfall, people. Probably gonna die.
Well, you heard it here first. Official safety tip from
Look at us.
from Too Much Energon HQ. Don't go over a waterfall, people.
Yeah, don't go over waterfalls. Stick to the streams and ponds that you. I don't know what the lyrics to that song is. What is that? Don't go chasing waterfalls by. I feel ashamed.
No doubt.
It's TLC, right?
Oh, TLC? I don't know. I have no idea.
I think so. Yeah, like 95% sure. Stick to the rivers and the streams you're something with. I never liked the lyrics to that song. It's like, don't aim high, stick to what's comfortable. And I'm like, don't agree with that.
So never challenge yourself is what you're saying.
Never challenge yourself. Don't go chasing waterfalls. You will die. So they don't die. And then because, the gunfight isn't going well for Rat Trap, Una pushes off the side of the riverbank and gets a bunch of mud on her stick. She's going with the flow. Oh, go with the flow because they're flowing along the river. Have a good night, folks. I figured it out.
Pack it up.
Pack it up, boys.
Pack it up, boys. Our work here is done.
So something cute but ridiculous happens. Whenever something on the show like replaces a gun and it seems to be more effective, I always think it's ridiculous. And in this case, Una takes a stick and wedges it across fucking Depth Charge's stupid manta ray head, and Rat Trap jumps on it and like a lever, and it flings the mud
Like a catapult, yeah.
like a catapult. Not really how levers work, but maybe they had a good fulcrum, right? Maybe a stupid head works like a perfect seesaw fulcrum, and the mud lands on and blinds Waspinator's eyes, his whole face.
Yeah.
And a normal person would wipe their face, but this is Waspinator, right? So he flies around and shoots randomly and says, Waspinator cannot see. And of course, he flies into Inferno.
He flies into Inferno, and then Dino Clone 2 is like targets acquired, preparing to terminate. And Waspinator and Inferno are like flying around, like in each other's arms, essentially, like blinded. And they crash into Dino Clone 2, which is a maneuver we've seen before in this show.
Knocking enemies into, many times.
What was it? Dinobot, the real Dinobot got taken out in season 2 because what was it? Cheetor crashed into Silverbolt.
Yeah, something like that. Also, like flying Cheetor when Rat Trap was dueling Megatron. Good fight, by the way. And he had his little shield that was deflecting plasma bolts. We've never seen him do that again, by the way. Cheetor flew into Rat Trap during that. And Depth Charge flew into Cheetor when they had
right, yeah.
Sentinel
in the Cyberraptor episode.
And I was like, man, come on.
Or no, not the Cyberraptor episode. Changing of the Guard, when they were carrying Sentinel around. That's how they lost Sentinel.
Yeah.
And so Megatron is like, the death rays online, and as luck would have it, all of the targets are in line with the maximal base. Cheers! What a coincidence! All power! Unleash the death ray!
And all the Maximals back at Ark Mountain are like, they get warnings. And I'm like, why didn't they get warnings when there was a test shot earlier?
Just before they get warnings, something that almost made me flip a table right in front of me happens. So Cheetor's little like spark chamber on his left hip opens up, and Cheetor is like, danger! And then the alarms sound. And I was
going to ask you about that.
I'm like,
what's going on there?
So Cheetor has fucking spider sense now? He's got cheetah sense? Like, I even looked up this episode on the Transformers wiki, and they're perplexed by it too.
Okay, so question. Is that little like spark an extra spark, or is his spark not in his chest and it's in his hip?
That's his spark. That's his spark in his
I
hip.
don't feel like that the cover for it should flip open so easily, because that happens a lot. But what Christopher says, it flips open and he looks at it as if he's got a spider sense, some early like warning system.
We've never seen that. Like, we've never been given any indication before that that's a thing.
And I'm sure we will see it again. It seems really useful, right? Remember when the Predacons were behind him, aiming at him? He just got caught in the back. Where was it then? It only works for death lasers, Christopher.
Christ. Christ.
And for some reason, even though it's a death ray, Optimus, almost as perplexing, says, "Prepare, go to battle stations." And I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do at your battle stations, homie?
Shoot the death ray?
Shoot
the laser out of the sky?
With what? A different colored laser? Is that how lasers work? You gonna fire missiles at the laser? I mean, I don't know how bipolar Energon lasers work, so it's almost adding insult to injury.
Ultimately, it doesn't end up matter. It doesn't matter in the end because
to add insult to injury, I love this. He's like, battle stations. Black Arachnia runs over to a monitor that's black, it's not turned on, and starts tapping buttons. And Rhinox runs over to a periscope and starts tilting it. And like, what the fuck are you two doing? Listeners and Christopher, go to 1853 if you're watching it on TV, and please have yourself a joyous moment. Yeah, about 1852 is when Optimus is battle stations, and watch how stupid Rhinox and Black Arachnia's battle stations are. Is Black Arachnia pressing buttons on a blank black screen? And Rhinox looking through a periscope and going, "Uh-oh."
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
That killed me when I watched it. I was like, that did not just happen.
Maybe I'll intro this episode of the show with that scene. It's either going to be that or Tarantula Man's like Predator walk.
Please have it. This fucking pedo walk. The pedo strut. Please have it be his stupid walk.
All right.
The other part's really funny, but out of context, it just looks like Maximal's doing Maximal bullshit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So
anyways, yeah.
All in the like most anticlimactic resolution to an extremely stupid episode. Megatron's like all power to the death ray, fire, but then there's like this weird like blowback of energy that causes the death ray and the mountain to explode, and then
Megatron's like, "What?"
What?
That's actually literally what he says. And there's a feedback to the bipolar Energon, and Megatron's like, "What? No," as if that's gonna help. And it cuts to Una, and she's holding the fucking stabilizer crystal. Is that what it's called?
I think
the
so,
the 390 that finally came in. And she holds up this like computer chip stabilizer crystal thing and like puts it in her hair like a hair clip.
Go to
smiles at Rat Trap and Depth Charge.
Go to what is it? 20 minutes and 19 seconds, and then watch like Cheetor's like little shimmy that he's doing leaning against the table as like the ship is like rumbling from the explosion.
I like the slow motion. By the way, people, this is one of the few, maybe I'm wrong about this. At 2015, there's a slow-mo shot of Depth Charge, Rat Trap, and Una flying through the air from the explosion.
Yeah.
It's not just a shot that's slowed down to like 5 frames per second. It's real slow-mo. And I can't recall the time actual slow-mo has been used properly on this show. There's probably been another time.
I can't imagine why it's this of all episodes that they chose to bust out the real slow-mo.
Okay, let's see this shimmy.
Yeah, 2019.
You know what? I get from the way they're all animated, I get like Star Trek vibes. You know how like they just moved the camera and everybody on like the Star Trek set would like fall over and like
Yeah.
brace themselves and stuff. I get Star Trek vibes from how bad they choreographed that, and I think that's on purpose. Because we know these guys like Star Trek.
Yeah, that's true. And like,
look at Rhinox.
well, like Cheetor does. Like he's just sitting there perfectly still with his hands on the table. Then he puts his hands like out farther and then just starts like doing this like awkward shimmy. Like his lower body isn't even moving.
It's I feel like that's a Star Trek thing. Like they're over what's it called? Overacting, overselling the that is I'm glad you pointed that out to me.
Now
all of their
I'm gonna watch
animation is
Rhinox.
ridiculous. Please do. He holds up to the
Oh, okay. What's Black Arachnia doing? Oh, she's just doing this.
That's on purpose. This is the ridiculousness of their animations. And by the way,
oh
if you've been watching the show with us,
I'm actually like tearing up over this.
If you've been watching the episodes with us, like the animations, there are little glitches here or there, but for the most part, pretty fucking cool and smooth, right? This is on purpose. This is fucking on purpose. This is a Star Trek moment because in the original series, it was pointed out a lot in the original series that some people would be moving differently.
Yeah, they didn't always like throw themselves in the same direction.
No, so like when there was like rumbling, like somebody would be like going up, back, forward, and back, and somebody else would like fall to the left. That is exactly.
And another person would like fall
backwards, as if there's different like inertia from different directions.
They got better about that with Next Generation, fortunately.
Oh, yeah, they had a choreographer at least be all like, okay, everybody like move to the left as if we were hit from the right, so everybody collapses a little bit to the right. This is an homage to bad original series, the bridge being shaken, absolutely, without question. That's a joy. Wow. Like Optimus's arms are rumbling, but his body's stationary. Fuck.
Still doesn't save the episode for me, but that was comical.
It doesn't, but that was great.
I noticed Cheetor earlier.
Great.
Yeah, I noticed Cheetor earlier when I was watching this. I didn't notice the rest of them though. In that, Black Arachnia is just like kind of like moving forward and back.
Literally the opposite direction to Cheetor.
Yeah. Oh god.
And their core, their lower bodies are perfectly still, and just their upper bodies are fucking getting shaken around. What a joy.
All right, so to wrap this up, after all of that, like it cuts away to Rat Trap and Una floating on their depth charge raft and floating off into the sunset, saying some bullshit.
Yeah.
Episode over.
Yeah.
Thank God. So that has been what is it? What did I say it was? The 8th episode of season 3 of Beast Wars. Go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes on a 3-point scale that ranges from not enough Energon to sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good.
Yeah.
Cal, what are you gonna give?
I feel like I like this a little bit more than you because I'm okay with just how stupid things got, and there's some humorous moments, like Megatron being like, "Yes, that no, grab the wrench. And I'm like, I think Megatron secretly likes kids. I like Cheetor Teacher. I like the stupid bridge shaking scene. Even though it wasn't even it was from a different mountain, and all it was a death ray charging. Fuck. What else? What was the other good line that you liked there? A Megatron line.
Oh,
The wasp about Waspinator.
The Waspinator thing, yeah.
So all is normal. But I really like the kids. I thought I would hate them. I fucking love like the proto-human kids. And I like Cheetor with them. Fucking Tarantulas is like dance of joy as he's like approaching like Una to kill her is fuck. It's a throwaway episode, but it doesn't grate me. I feel like it bugs Christopher a little bit more than me.
Sure
but
does.
It gets a low sufficient amount of Energon from me. It's not not enough Energon. It's I don't actually think it's even that bad. It's a throwaway. Like, do we ever get to see the death ray again? Doubtful. But are we ever going to see Cheetor's like cheetah sense kick in again? Probably not.
Probably not.
But it was dumb and funny. Not terrific.
I think this, as I said at the beginning, I think this is literally the worst episode of Beast Wars.
Right.
I will say I had a lot of fun laughing about the awkward shimmying at the end, and that almost at least like saved the episode a little bit, but it's a very short like throwaway. It's like 2 seconds long. It's not enough
to agree with you. That's just a bit. It's not part of the plot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they could have put that in any episode, and it would still have been funny.
I laughed at things Megatron said twice because, as I mentioned, no matter how bad an episode is, Megatron's always a delight.
Yeah.
So it's all Dave. It's all because of David K. Like,
yeah,
props to that guy. And I like I said, I do kind of like Youth Pastor Cheetor.
I like that term. Yeah, Youth Pastor Cheetor.
The plot, a fucking death ray. It's stupid. Like immediately, like as soon as I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like a death ray? This is like such a like stupid. Like you called it like a dumb James Bond plot.
Yeah.
Cheetor with his like weird cheetah sense. I'm like that just completely comes out of left field.
Can I throw bipolar Energon suddenly affecting them in there too?
And what even is bipolar Energon?
Are we going to see that again?
Probably not. And the fact that like this like I bitched about this earlier in the episode of the podcast, but like if they had just waited until they finished building the shield plating before plugging the
big
fucking thing in,
it's a big plot.
None of this would have happened. Hell, they may have even destroyed Ark Mountain because they could have finished the death ray without anyone finding out about it. The only reason anyone found out about the death ray was because they kidnapped the kid.
Oh, yeah, good point. And indeed, that was their undoing.
Yeah.
Because the kid stole the stabilizer crystal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is that move is a very Three Stooges move. The Three Stooges come up with great inventions or great business ideas that normal human beings would be able to make work. But somehow, through sheer idiocy and lack of awareness and slapstick hijinks, which is what's going on here, they fail miserably. That's the gist of every single one of their Three Stooges episodes. I get that a lot here. It's like, wow, you could have won the Beast Wars once and for all. Except we forgot to see if the video card was installed correctly.
Yeah, so I am giving this episode no Energon. Listeners and viewers, I didn't prepare Cal for the fact that I was going to bust out no Energon. This
Wow.
episode, I've never rated anything this before, and I hope I don't have to again.
We knew in the back of our heads that that was like a secret.
Oh yeah.
Like rating for something like extraordinarily bad. I didn't think we'd ever see it. But
hopefully
I don't
we
even
don't
disagree
again.
with Christopher. I just maybe I'm grading on a scale. Maybe I'm, you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just like throw mud at Waspinator's face. Terrific. Sufficient to that.
Oh.
Tarantulus did a creepy little stuck in the middle with you, like
Reservoir Dogs,
little shimmy.
Yeah,
his little shimmy, and maybe that's enough. And I'm like, give that man an Emmy. Yeah, I don't disagree with Christopher's choice. I just think it was the kids. It's the kids.
Speaking of Star Trek, we will be back next week with the 9th episode of season 3 of Beast Wars, Crossing the Rubicon.
Speaking of Star Trek,
which was written by DC Fontana, who
so it'll be great then.
DC Fontana was one of the lead writers of Star Trek: The Original Series, and she also wrote an episode, a truly magnificent episode of season 3 of Reboot.
One of the few episodes where we, the 3 hosts of our other podcast about Reboot called Alphanumeric, all 3 of us, he's got it, all 3 hosts, Christopher, myself, and the prestigious AP Snidler, I think we all gave it the same rating.
Yeah. We all gave it the lowest rating we possibly could,
and that grade's on a 4 scale system. There's more wiggle room there. He loves everything too.
He does. Bless him. He's Reboot makes him very happy.
Yeah.
And I hated this episode so much that I forgot to mention that Go With The Flow originally aired on February 18th, 1999. So,
happy Valentine's.
Happy 4 days after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's, like, extended hangover. Happy Valentine's STD. There we go.
Christopher did not like episode. Gets a special red text rating.
So that's been episode 42 of Too Much Energon. If you want to support the show, wherever you're listening to or watching this, give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a thumbs up, give it a 5-star rating, anything. Tell your friends about it. If you want to follow us, you can do so at facebook.com/toomuchenergon, or for our more generalized Lasercomb page, facebook.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB, where stuff relating to any of the various Lasercomb podcasts, not just this one, but any of the various Lasercomb podcasts get posted about. So this one, Alphanumeric, our Reboot pod, where we do this, but we talk about Reboot.
You got a website?
War Planets, where we do this, but talk about the other 90s mainframe series.
He did
Shadow Raiders. Yeah, they did another thing. It's called Shadow Raiders. We're getting a little bit of traction. We're getting a little bit of traction on that one lately, and I think because we may literally be the only people who have ever podcasted about it.
We must be. I'm starting to see why. I don't want to talk. Not going to spoil anything, but we have some things to say. and some Batman movies to discuss on that podcast.
At the time of this recording, the second episode, it's a 6-part podcast. The second episode, called Volume 2, is out now. It was really, really great episode. I think it's one of our better podcasts that me, you, and Sidler have done together.
Easily.
It was a lot of fun. So go check that out. War Planets, the Shadow Raiders podcast. I also have a show where me and a rotating series of guest hosts talk about various cartoons aimed at a slightly older audience than mainframe stuff. It's called Cartoons at Night. Right now, there's only one episode out. It's about the short-lived Clerks animated series, but there's another episode coming out very soon, this weekend, as a matter of fact.
Ooh.
Keep an eye out for that. I also have another podcast where me and my partner talk about film adaptations of books and compare the two with one another. It's called Based On. 2 episodes of that out right now. The first one's about Fight Club. Second one is about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Next week there will be a 3rd episode coming out about Where the Wild Things Are.
That's going to be interesting.
Check out our website for this podcast, www.toomuchenergon.ca. The triple W part's very important because the URL doesn't work otherwise, and I don't know how to fix it. To be fair, I haven't really tried very hard. If you want to get in touch, send us an email, toomuchenergon@outlook.com, or you can reach out to us on Twitter. I am at Lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. Cal is at...
I am at Neo_Cal with a K.
Yeah, the K is very important. Otherwise,
Yes.
the URL doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. You can also just creep us. Like if you just don't want to see like pictures of ducks for me posting, or like all of Christopher's like toys. Who wants to see him unboxing things anyway? You can
I post pictures of Transformers a lot.
It's actually cool. You can follow Too Much Energon itself, which is more just the show and things relating to the Transformers verse primarily.
Yeah, I'll retweeting articles about new Transformers figures and whatnot. So check that out. That's at Too Much Energon.
And I think
that about does it. Yeah, we're running out. We're running out of time here, so we're gonna peace out. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege,
and I have been the other host, NeoCal.
And until next week, Beast Mode.
Have a good Beast Mode, folks.
Beast mode! Beast mode!